Hey everybody, this is Aaron from Boss. I'm here today with Austin Sandick, and we are going to be talking to you about the RC-5 loop station, and specifically we're going to be talking about how to connect external foot switches to the unit for extra control. So we've got different ones that we can use. We have things like the FS7 dual foot switch, or we have the FS6 dual foot switch. Or you can also connect two FS5Us together and use that to control the RC-5. Or you can use an EV30 expression pedal to make all the connections if you want for controlling stuff with an expression pedal if you want. And we're going to take a look at the control menu. And the control menu is where you're going to find the ability to connect all this stuff. But first off, let me show you guys how to actually connect all these different pedals, depending on which one you want to use. They're all great options. There's no specific one that's better for one person or another. It's up to your choice of whether you want something like small and compact, or if you need more space for your foot. We have different options that are available. So let's take a look at how to connect them up. Over here, I've got a RC-5 loop station. And I am going to connect it up using a couple of different cables here. So depending on which pedal you are using, you would use a different type of cable. I'm going to start out with the FS5U, and we've got one here, and I've actually got two. And let's connect them together so I can slide these together and make them one unit, which is really cool. And the main thing you have to do on these units before you start using them is you actually have to switch there's little switches in the back over here. And you want to move them both on the FS5Us to the left. So it's going to go that way, or basically toward the input jack for the cable. And once these are connected, your unit should be able to talk to your RC-5 correctly. The next thing you're going to need to do is connect the cable. Type of cable that you can use when you're doing this. So basically, you're looking for a TRS to dual mono type of setup. So, you're going to see these oftentimes where it'll have it where it's like ring and tip are labeled off separately. And basically what you want to do is you're going to connect these guys here to each one of the pedals. And then you're going to go from there. It's going to go TRS input into the connection over here on the RC-5. And it goes like that. And then now you will have control over how to, play around with the different controls that are inside the menu. Let me show you now how to do FS6. FS6 is very similar. And you have two options with the FS6. So FS6, you can use the same type of cable, right? And if I want to, I can do the same thing where it's using a TRS, and I can go dual mono to two separate inputs on here if I want to do that as well. Same thing over here on the FS6. You want to make sure that all the switches over here, they're basically all going to the left side on here. So they should go FS5U mode is basically what you're looking for them to do. But that's the idea. You want to be polarity mode are going to go to the left. And then connection-wise, you're going to connect these two to the A and the B. Right? And that's very easy to connect that. Now, you also have the option, if you want to, you can use a different type of cable for this one. And you can use a TRS to TRS cable. So basically one that's got two, it's got the tip in the ring basically on both sides. And on the FS6, you actually have a connection for that. So it just goes into this section right here, which is for the TRS. And then same thing, this now goes over to the pedal. And you've got both of them set up that way. Very, very easy. Or you can do one other pedal here we have for our FS pedals is the FS7. And the FS7, same thing. So you've got, on this one, you have to have power for an FS7. That's one thing people a lot of times don't realize what makes this a little bit different. It is a smaller footprint. Obviously, as you can see it right next to the RC here. It's not much bigger than that. But on this one, you have to have power if you want to see the lights. Whereas with an FS6, if you want to see the lights, it's battery powered. So you just plug a battery into the back. And then on FS5, realize FS5s don't have any lights on them at all. So FS7, right? If you want to connect this up, same thing. So you've got basically an A and a B on the back over here that you can connect to. And so you would use that dual cable again. So dual connection, right? You've got your A and B, connect them here, and connect that over to here on the pedal. And again, same thing on this side over here. You've got your polarity and mode, and you want them to go basically to the left. So it's going to be polarity to the left, and then the mode is actually going to go to the left as well. Basically puts it into what we call the FS5U momentary mode. Right? If I want to, though, I can also use a TRS cable, similar to like what we did with the FS6. So connect again. So I've got TRS to TRS on either side here. Right? And I'm going to go, basically there's one where it says A and B here. And then same thing, TRS cable just plugs into over here on the right side of the unit at the top. And now I've got both, so you have the option of different cables if you need to. So if you don't have one cable or the other, you still have the ability to use a unit. And remember, for the FS7, you need to have power in order to see the lights on it. All right, and that's how you connect up the FSs. Let me show you one more pedal that we can connect, and that is the expression pedal. Uses a TRS cable. And if you take a look over here, you've got a EV30. All right, and you've got two connections over here. So you can set up the expression pedal here to, expression 1, and you just set that to be, polarity is normal on that one. And then expression 1, you just plug in and you're connected, and easy to do. And that is all the connections that you have, or options that you have. Now we are going to move on to take a look at the actual menu and what you guys can control. Okay, so now that we've got our foot switches connected, I've got an FS7 connected. I believe Austin has an FS7 connected on his pedal as well. And we're going to go into the, into the control menu here and take a look at what your options are. So let me hit the setup button here. It takes me in. I'm going to turn from general. Remember, we're going to go to control, and we'll hit control. And this will take us to our pedal functions. Now, realize that everything that you do here is basically saved to the unit. It's a global function. So this will basically affect all your presets, and so once you do it here, it's done for the entire unit, which is different than some of our other units. Some of our other units, it's set up where you actually have it where you can actually change this per preset. But on the RC-5, this is all done globally. So pedal function here is, again, what the foot switch itself physically is doing. The physical pedal unit, on the unit, this is what its default function is. It is set up for a track to be record, play, overdub, stop, and clear, all on one foot switch. Generally, I think, and Austin can chime in if he's any different, but for the most part, I think both of us, we tend to leave it in this mode just as a default, just because if I ever don't have anything connected to the pedal, I still want to be able to use the pedal just, kind of in a default setting. But we have the option to change things, and you can, do different stuff, like you can make it do record, playback, and, stop without having to have the clear function on there. And I'll show you in a second here. We'll show you why it's kind of a cool function here. But yeah, you just realize you have different options here as to how you want the foot switch to do. Again, we tend to like it to be kind of the default setting where it is set for record, playback, overdub, stop, and clear. Now, if you want to, you go here, push the memory loop level button. It'll take you back up to the top here to pedal function. I'm going to move on to CTL 1 function here. We're going to take a look at the default. By default, it is set for track, stop, and clear. This is a cool function that differs a little bit from the foot switch in that with the foot switch, when I do a clear, right, you hold it down for 2 seconds, it clears the unit, but you hear the audio for a split second as it's doing the wipe. If you want to do it a little bit more professionally, having the CTL1 pedal connected, you can do a silent clear basically, so you don't have to hear that noise as you're clearing out the unit. Very, very cool. Like I said, great for live performance. And, by default, it is set for this on the CTL1. On CTL2, it is set up to be CTL2 is set up for memory increase. Now, memory increase means that I can actually move through different presets if I want to. So as I'm playing, I can record something. As I want, as that loop ends, it'll actually jump up to the next memory slot. It's kind of a cool way, like you can simulate basically doing a verse or a chorus type thing if you want to that way. And then default for the expression pedal is for it to be the track level. And you can adjust the track level basically with the expression pedal if you want to, and basically turn it, fade it in, fade it out. So let's take a look at, right now we're going to take a look and have Austin kind of demo the default functions.
All right, so thanks, Aaron, for taking us through the menus. So we're just going to go over just the default controls and what happens when you plug in a 2-button foot switch and over a TRS cable into the RC-5. So I'm going to go ahead and make a loop, and what's going to happen is that I'm going to press the B button down here, which is actually control 1, which is basically going to be our default track stop and clear. So I press it once to stop it, and then I can press and hold it for 2 seconds to clear the track. So let's give that a try. Press once to stop. And then we can also press and hold that same button without the loop playing back and still clear it. Meanwhile, if I was doing that with just the foot switch itself, the actual button here, now if I stopped it, right? And as Aaron was saying before, I would have to listen to the audio for a split second before the track actually clears. Makes this little button here better for performance. And then the A button on top, which is our default CTL2 control, this is just going to increase in memory slots. So as I press this button here, you can see on the actual screen, I am actually going up in the memory slots. This works really well if you have like some pre-recorded loops in there, or some pre-recorded things you have stored in there, you want to switch between them. This is a really, really cool way for performance. And that is the 2 default settings of the CTL 1 and 2 for the RC-5. Now that we got our EV30 expression pedal hooked up via TRS to our RC-5, by default, when you do this and you have it hooked up, it's going to control the level of your loop from 0 to the loop level that you actually have set inside. And this is for track level 2. So I'm going to go ahead and make a loop. And as I pull back on this expression pedal, you notice the volume diminishes, right? But then when I kick my foot back up, it takes it right back to that volume.
So let's take a look at the different options that you have for the menu for the CTL1 function. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to be recreated over on the actual foot switch side. So if I go back here, right, pedal function, I have all these options that are here. I'm going to find most of them are going to be here in control 1 function and control 2. By default, we're set up for track, stop, and clear. But let's say we want to change around when we want to play around with what these are going to do, right? If I go right now, I realize that this is not there's stuff before this. So if I turn to the left, there's other options here before I get to that one. So turning all the way to the left takes you to the beginning. So if I want to, this is set up for track, record, and play. So this will basically just alternate between recording and playback on the CTL function if I want. If I go to track, basically it's going to be record, play, and stop. This is where I can set this up to be just going back and forth between those three different, parameters. Again, this is the replicating what the foot switch was doing, which is record, playback, overdub, stop, and clear. Again, you can have the foot switch do this if you want to. Again, this is all general stuff that you can do just for your own customization of how you want to use the unit. Like I said, for the most part, I think for Austin and I, we generally tend to keep the CTL 1 function actually as the default, because it's it's having to be able to wipe a loop without actually having to hear it being wiped is actually a really, really good thing. Here you can do track, so it can be set up for momentary record and play. So basically, as I'm holding the button down, it'll momentarily do the record and play for me. Here we can do track is play and stop. So it'll alternate back and forth between play and stop if you want to, just using the CTL pedal. On this one, it is playback and stop, and then clear as well. So you can actually clear the unit. Again, these are all just different kind of functions. Again, don't think that you have to do any of these, or these are just so you have the option to do some of this stuff if you want to. CTL 1 function can be just a track stop, and it'll stop the unit. This one's cool too. It's track stop as well as be a tap tempo. And then here, track stop is clear, and so when you hold the unit down, it'll clear the unit. This is track stop, tap, and clear. So in this one, again, it's tap tempo for the rhythm section, or I can hold it down for 2 seconds to clear the unit. This is track clear, and this will basically clear the preset out and wipe the loop. Moving on, this is track undo and redo. Basically, with the foot switch, you can undo and redo any of your recording. Basically, it's kind of cool because you can add a part or subtract a part out that you've recorded. And it's basically the last thing that you've recorded can be wiped out or undo or redo. A very cool function, track reverse. You can set the CTL 1 to be a reverse function for your loop, and it'll basically flip the loop and play it in backwards for you.
Now we're going to go over a little bit of demo of some of the track control functions that you can run through. And the first one I'm going to do for you is the momentary record and play. This means that when I press the B button down here, it's going to momentarily record me for however long I have my foot down on that button for, and then as soon as I release, it'll stop, and then if I want to play it back, I'll have to push it again. So one way I like to use this, I like to use it to capture tones. So I'll actually go ahead and just strum a chord, momentarily capture that note, and then actually repeat it. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. So again, that's also a really cool, interesting way that you can incorporate a nice, cool control like momentary. The next control we're going to get into, specialty track control, is actually going to be track, stop, and tap tempo. What's really cool about this is that if I have a drum beat going, right? And let's say I think it's too slow or if it's too fast, I can go ahead and pump in a new tempo. Or even faster. Right? And now I can also use it as a single push to stop the track. All right, so if I record something, and 1, 2, 3. Really, really useful way, especially in performance if you want to pump that tempo first, or if you're practicing, or if you got some really good idea going. Really, really cool control to change around the tempo of the rhythm if you're using the rhythm guide in your looping and recording. So the next control we're going to go over is track reverse. So I set the B button, or our control 1 here, to basically turn on the reverse for us. Again, we can turn it on and record something and it'll play it back for us in reverse, or we can leave it off and actually have the loop playback straight. So I'm gonna leave it off for now, and then I'm gonna play the loop straight and then turn on the reverse, and you'll hear the loop playback in reverse, all right? So let's try it. About the reverse on the RC-5 is that if I record something like a single note line on top and then took off reverse after I'm done recording or overdubbing, it'll actually reverse my overdub. So check this out. Watch what happens to my overdub when I take off reverse. So that overdub is actually playing back in reverse because I recorded it with reverse on. So very, very, very cool creative way that you can kind of make these really cool sounding loops using the reverse function on CTL 1. Last in the track controls for CTL 1 that we can go over is the track, stop, tempo, and clear. And what that means is that the button actually does 3 functions. It labels as a single track or single push stop. So basically I press the B button once and it'll stop the track along with my rhythm. And then it also acts as a tap tempo. So as you can see here, I have a rhythm guide going. If I wanted to make his tempo a little faster, I can just pump the tempo faster and it'll actually start going. And then I also can use the B button as a track clear, and this will basically happen when I press and hold that button for 2 seconds. So let's go over all that in an audio demo by turning on some drums. All right, and 1, 2, 3. So 1 push clears it, or 1 push stops it, along with the rhythm, and then I press and hold to clear it. And then if I want to, I can also go down and turn on the rhythm again and basically make another loop from scratch. Or I can actually, in the next part of showing you some of the controls and stuff, as Aaron's going to take you through the menu, he's going to show you how you can assign the CTL buttons to control the rhythm guide, as well as memory increase and decrease. So CTL 1, there you go.
Okay, so that was all the track controls that you had. So that's basically controlling the track to, you know, how you record, how you play back, overdub, redo, undo, different options that you have. Now we're going to move on to the control section or function for the rhythm section. So now is all of these are going to be basically rhythm guide or, you know, or the groove functions basically that you're going to have control over with a foot switch. CTL 1, you can set it up for tap tempo. And basically, again, this is tap tempo to control the rhythm guide. So the very first one is rhythm, PS, which is play and stop. So you can basically move, start and stop the rhythm. If we move on, we go on to rhythm play. So now I'm just CTL1 function is just going to be the rhythm play function. So it's just going to play. There's no stop on it, so it just plays. Here we have just a stop. Again, this is like, if I have the two pedals, like a CTL1 and a CTL2, I could have one be the play and one be the stop for the rhythm section if I want. Here we go. CTL1 is memory increase. And basically this will move me up through the different presets. Again, you can use this to kind of simulate a verse chorus type of situation if you want. But yeah, you can change between different presets basically, but just by pushing up on the button. And if I want, I can do it the other direction and memory decrease, and it'll take me down through them as well. Okay, and so that's it for the CTL1. Again, like these controls, you'll find them, CTL1, CTL2 will have these functions together. So we're going to move on now to the expression pedal. Now, by default, the expression pedal is set for track level 2. So there's two types of track levels here. And Austin will definitely be showing you guys the differences between the two. But to describe it really quickly, right? So there's level 1 and level 2, right? So level 1 is designed to basically be when you are, whatever presets you're in, it will go from basically the loop levels can go from 0 to 200, right? Or whatever preset you're on can go from 0 to 200. Level 1 basically means that you will automatically go from 0 to 200 on the expression pedal. If I'm set for track level 2 means that it is only going to go from 0 to whatever I have designed or whatever I have set up my preset to be for the loop level. So let's say I've got the loop level set at 100. It will only go from 0 to 100 basically with the expression pedal. Hope that makes sense. Austin will definitely demo that though, so you can see how that works. If I keep going to the right, it'll take me to tempo up. So I can actually use the, basically if I want to use the expression pedal to speed up the tempo, I can do that. Or I can use it the opposite direction. I can go tempo down. Different things to if you want to play around with speeding up and slowing down your loop. Here we have rhythm level 1. Again, rhythm level 1 is going to be set up where the level will go from 0 to 200 basically, and it's the wide range of it. If I have it set for level 2, which is the next one here, level 2 is only going to take the rhythm as loud as I have set up or in the preset for the rhythm to go. So if I set the rhythm to be at 100, it will only go from 0 to 100. Whereas in level 1 will actually go past what I have set as the limit. So generally, most part, you'll probably be using level 2 for most of the stuff that you would want to do. Again, Austin will demonstrate this for you guys. Again, here we go. Memory level 1, same thing, 0 to 200 on this one versus memory level 2, which will basically be dictated by what I have set to be the top level of the volume. So again, if I had it set for 100, it will only go from 0 to 100. And that is it for basically the control section of the RC-5 loop station. If you want, you're done. You hit the setup button and it takes you back out. And you're back to the memory at the beginning.
Now what this is going to do is that the expression pedal is going to control the maximum range of that loop. So it can be either 0 all the way to double its volume. And I'm going to try and do this without blowing up my preamp. All right, so let's make a loop real quick. So you even notice right there, as I brought the expression pedal back, you heard that little jump in volume. So if I go about halfway up, the volume kicks up, but I can also make it louder than what it was before. So you can kind of hear it was like just about peaking, right? So that's really the difference between the levels number 1 and number 2. And this goes for the track, which is going to be your loop. It's also going to go for the rhythm, as well as the memory slot, which is everything inside of that memory slot. So I'll quickly go ahead and switch to another memory slot and show you what memory level 1 and 2 actually do in relation to the rhythm. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a loop for you, and I'm going to control the memory level. And for this demo, I'm actually going to turn on my rhythm here, get myself a drum beat going, right? And what you're going to notice is that as I pull back the volume on that expression pedal, you'll notice that not only the loop changes volume, but the rhythm changes volume as well. So let's make a loop, and 1, 2, 3. Now as I pull the heel back, notice everything came out, including the drums. So this is going to be the difference between your track level, your rhythm level, or your memory level. So the track level is only going to control the physical loop that you make from the 1/4 inch. There is a rhythm level, which is only going to control the volume of the rhythm. And then there's a memory volume, which controls the volume of both the audio that's recorded into the loop, as well as the volume of the rhythm.
All right, so that was a awesome look, I thought, at taking a look at the setup menu, the control menu. So again, this was all about basically how to set up physical, analog pedals, our expression pedals and our control pedals to the unit to control some of the extra functions that are available inside the RC-5 loop station. I want to thank Austin for hanging out and demoing the stuff for us.
Thank you so much.
Thank everybody else for hanging in there with us. And I know it's a long video, but hopefully the information is helpful for you, and you'll find some value in the stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron, for taking us through the whole menu system and again through the control functions and stuff. And thank you for letting me play. Hope you guys enjoyed my playing as much as I did making loops. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. We'll try and get to all your comments and everything like that. If you want to see more from us, or if you want to learn more about any Boss products, you can go ahead to boss.info and contact either ourselves or our wonderful product support team, and they'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Thanks a lot, everyone. Happy looping. See ya.